The words landed heavy, slicing through the dinner table silence. My sister smirked. Her boyfriend gave a smug nod. I set my fork down, heartbeat steady, smile sharper. My name is Brenda Foster, 30 years old. I built a tech company from scratch, powered by caffeine, code, and sheer grit. I traded years of sleep for something that was truly mine. They assumed my success meant I'd carry them forever. They were wrong. Stay with me. What happened next burned their plan to the ground. But first, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. They came expecting a free roof. I gave them an invoice. Greenville looked soft on the outside. Part 2. Growing up invisible in Greenville. Our house didn't. Inside, love tilted toward my sister. I learned how to survive in the corners. She got private school, praise, and privileges. I got rules, reminders, and responsibility. They called her gifted, even when her grades slipped. They called me reliable, even when I was breaking. A red convertible appeared for her birthday. I walked to class with used textbooks. Her perks were an investment in creativity. Mine, building toughness. She took my babysitting money and never gave it back. When I asked, she laughed. "You're so stingy, Brenda," she said. My parents nodded like judges. I fixed leaky sinks while they attended art openings. I worked weekends tutoring just to cover fees. She posted rooftop selfies, gelato, and new shoes. I posted grades, shifts, and silence. London called with a partial scholarship. The hospital called with a bill. "Your sister's too young to help," they told me. "We need you this time." I gave up that ticket, gave up that dream. Instead, I rang groceries under buzzing lights. They thanked me once, then bragged about her painting. At school, I stopped auditioning for approval. I opened a secret savings account. I studied until numbers steadied me. I worked until nights blurred into headlights. Independence wasn't a choice. It was survival with receipts. Graduation came with aching feet. Hers came with a catered celebration. They danced. I quietly mapped my exit. Invisible daughters learned to memorize doorways. When they finally visited my startup, their smiles looked strange. Not pride, calculation. Like they were pricing furniture. "How much are your shares worth?" "Family helps family, right?" That sentence bruised deeper than any chore. I drove home counting sacrifices like streetlights, always keeping tally, like an accountant breathing. Have you ever faced something like this? Share your story in the comments. Some nights their words echoed. "You're strong. You'll manage. She needs the help." Strength became the excuse for why love skipped me. I wasn't their daughter. I was their plan. Part 3. Coffee, code, and building something real. I built my future from leftovers and late shifts. Mornings smelled like diner coffee and bus exhaust. Nights buzzed with bugs, code, and blue light. 5 hours of sleep was a luxury. At campus, I hunted problems like they owed me money. Spreadsheets at dawn. Data structures at dusk. I didn't shine. I grinded. That's when I met Daniel. He fixed laptops for gas and textbooks. He knew the math of survival. Cheap tacos, shared earbuds, deadlines like sirens. He never called me stubborn. He called me relentless and meant it kindly. Healthcare tech hooked me during one rainy week. Remote monitoring, quiet dashboards, real lives behind numbers. I landed an internship at a scrappy Greenville startup. Secondhand chairs, flickering lights, dreams bigger than budgets. I scraped $2,000 in tips together and invested it like bail money. If it failed, at least I tried. We built ugly prototypes that actually worked. Bribed testers with pizza. Patients trickled in. 10,000 users showed up like a rumor. A local hospital signed on for a pilot. I graduated into a shaky desk job. Intern to junior. Junior to lead. Lead to equity. Not luck. Ledger. Not miracle. Math. At 27, I bought a small apartment. 1 bedroom. A window that woke me with courage. A Craigslist sofa. Joy brand new. No one's name on the deed, but mine. When my family toured the office, their smiles tilted wrong again. Not admiration. Measurement. How big is the valuation now? How much are your shares worth? Family helps family, remember? Warm words. Cold hands. Shifting targets. That night, Daniel watched me pace grooves in the floor. It isn't pride, he said. It's procurement. The word hit like a gavel. Not daughter. Supply chain. Then Aunt Carol whispered the missing piece. Your parents are $50,000 deep in credit card debt. Loft rent. Lori's studio fees. Paris again. I pressed the phone to my face. It smelled like pennies and rain. And then I heard my father in the hallway. He thought I'd gone. Brenda's place is big, he told someone. We'll move in. Save rent. She can chip in more. It's only fair. Fair tasted like swallowing nails. I opened my laptop and counted the years. Babysitting money that never came back. Scholarships surrendered. Sinks fixed. Doors shut. I knew how to build value. I also knew how to build walls. I met Patrick, a careful lawyer. We spoke in contingencies and fire breaks. Drew maps for the cleanest exit. I transferred my stake. Locked the proceeds. $860,000, paper armor. A future with gates. If you've been through this, you're not alone. Love without boundaries isn't love. It's a siphon dressed in lace. I signed the first documents with steady hands. Slept like a shut-off server. Morning would bring their demand, and my reply. They thought I was a faucet. I was building a valve. Part 4. The $860,000 move and dinner showdown. Saturday night smelled of garlic and tension at Magnolia's Bistro. Candlelight flickered against polished menus, but my family's eyes gleamed sharper. Daniel sat beside me, steady as a handrail. Aunt Carol watched from the end, lips pressed tight. My father leaned forward, voice smooth with certainty. Brenda, we've decided. Before we begin, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more powerful true stories about family betrayal and resilience. Tomorrow, we're moving into your apartment. My mother's lips curled into a smile. It's what families do. No excuses. Lori scrolled on her phone, smirking like a queen granting favors. Brian twirled spaghetti, already savoring the idea of free rent. I placed my fork down, folded my napkin carefully. My heartbeat slowed, steady like a countdown clock. All right, I said evenly. Just bring 860,000. The table froze, glasses hovering, forks caught mid-air. My father's jaw tightened, eyes widening. My mother's smile vanished as she blinked in disbelief. Lori dropped her phone. Brian's fork hit the plate with a clatter. They hadn't expected pushback. They thought silence was my answer, compliance my role. Lori spoke first, sharp and venomous. You're selfish, Brenda. Always hoarding. Always jealous. Brian sneered. What? You think you're better than us? Their poison was familiar, stale, well-worn. My father leaned closer, his voice cold. You're turning your back on family. Everyone will hear about this. My mother dabbed at imaginary tears. After everything we sacrificed for you, she whispered. Sacrifices? I thought of London fading into grocery aisles. Babysitting money borrowed, never returned. Medical bills signed in my name. While she danced under confetti, I counted coins. I locked eyes with them and didn't look away. You mean the sacrifices I made? I'm finished being your safety net. Daniel's hand wrapped around mine, steady and warm. Aunt Carol gave a slow nod, pride softening her face. The restaurant walls seemed to shift. For once, they weren't towering over me. I was standing level with them. Ungrateful, Lori muttered. My mother's sobs grew louder, the performance swelling. My father's glare promised thunder. But thunder without lightning is only noise. And I held the strike. They thought they could lay claim to my home. They mistook entitlement for inheritance. But the door was already closed, the papers signed, the vault locked. The silence that followed was sweet, sharp and clean, like steel. It tasted of survival. It tasted of freedom. They wanted walls. I gave them a price. And I didn't flinch. That night, I stopped being their fallback. I became their reckoning. The storm hit Monday morning, before the coffee cooled. Lori took to social media, posting pictures with captions sharpened like knives. Brenda abandoned her family. Greedy tech girl refuses to help her parents. Comments piled up like soggy newspapers. Old classmates shared, judged, unfriended. I didn't reply. Feeding fire is still feeding. By noon, Aunt Carol texted screenshots. Let it burn out, she said. The truth doesn't need gasoline. I muted the world and opened my laptop. Then chaos crashed into my lobby. Where's Brenda? My father thundered, face red, body shaking. My mother trailed behind, arms flailing, voice pitched high with accusations. We deserve our share of this. Keyboard stilled. Heads rose in waves. Daniel stood calm as stone. Not here, I said, stepping forward. This is my workplace. Leave now. They escalated. I didn't. Security escorted them out, my mother wailing, You'll regret this, Brenda, echoing down the corridor. My cheeks burned, but my spine held. I booked a conference room, called Patrick. Documents are airtight, he assured, flipping through metaphorical pages. They have no legal ground. Relief came like finally sinking into a chair. Next, I called Sharon. Keep moving, she said firmly. Eyes forward. By Friday, we shipped the beta. That night, I blocked their numbers. Silence didn't feel empty. It felt like air rediscovered. I slept without double-checking locks. Morning came with gossip, with fewer so-called friends. That's pruning. What falls wasn't rooted. What stays is strong. Aunt Carol called with updates. Second mortgage, new furniture, another trip. They're drowning and still blaming you. Guilt knocked, but the door was locked. We sprinted through work. Sharon hammered timelines. I rewrote the hardest code. Daniel brought tacos, kindness, and no judgment. Momentum found us like wind. Hospitals asked for demos. Clinics wanted pilots. We hired 3 hungry developers. Meanwhile, Lori's story cracked. Her boyfriend left after a money fight. Her post shifted from glamour to dim corners. My parents sold the house I grew up in, replacing nostalgia with linoleum floors in a retirement unit. They still grumble, Aunt Carol said. But even thunder gets tired. I kept receipts, not resentment. Boundaries like guardrails, like rain. When midnight doubts whispered, I answered with math. Years carried, bills paid, dreams surrendered. One dinner didn't start this. One decision ended it. If you face family shaming, I see you. Tell me in the comments, you're not alone. Some lessons come late, but we all can learn. I didn't choose cruelty. I chose clarity. I chose a locked gate. Not to keep love out, but to protect what I'd built. I cut the rope and built a bridge only I can lower. 6 months later, the noise had faded. We married in the Riverside Park. Aunt Carol cried softly. I didn't. Relief is different from grief. Our apartment smelled of cardboard and new beginnings. Daniel hung photos with patient hands. We set ground rules, honesty first, boundaries second. The rest could wait its turn. With Sharon, I rebuilt my work on stronger ground. We shipped our wellness upgrade on schedule. Clinics signed. Hospitals called. Users stayed. Success no longer felt like armor. It felt like breath. I invested wisely, not to impress, not as a secret lifeline. Money flowed toward purpose, not pressure. Aunt Carol kept me updated on family weather. Lori rented a studio, held steady hours. Her feed turned human, coffee mugs, sunsets, not trophies. Brian faded like a bad headline. My parents sold the brick house, downsized to linoleum floors, simpler meals, shorter stories. They still mutter your name, Carol said. But even storms run out of rain. On quiet nights, I walked my neighborhood loop, counting porch lights instead of debts. Freedom wasn't fireworks. It was steady hum. Doors that closed and stayed closed. Forgiveness arrived like cautious weather. Not a parade, not erasure, just a heart unclenching. I didn't know payment for peace. If you've lived through this, you're not alone. Have you faced something similar? Share in the comments. We can learn new ways to love. Here's what I know now. Strength is not a crime. Generosity without limits drowns. Love without respect becomes a leash. Choose the gate. Choose the key. Choose yourself without apology. I didn't abandon my family. I abandoned the script they wrote for me. I chose breath. I chose boundaries. And finally, I stepped into a life that truly fits. If this story touched you, please like, share, and remember, don't forget to subscribe for more true stories of family betrayal that remind us how strong we really are.